Welcome back to the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. I'm Alex, and with me is Emma, and today we're delving into an incredibly important and complex topic, Major Depressive Disorder, or MDD. MDD affects around 280 million people worldwide, and it's far more than just feeling sad or down. It's a pervasive mental health condition that disrupts daily life in profound ways. But here's the exciting part. Researchers are uncovering new insights into its mechanisms and treatments.
That's right, Alex. For years, the focus has been on the monoamine hypothesis, the idea that depression is mainly due to deficits in neurotransmitters like serotonin. But now we're seeing that the picture is much more complex. Beyond serotonin, we're looking at factors like neuroinflammation, neuroplasticity, and even the endocannabinoid system. We've got so much ground to cover today, including some promising new treatments and, of course, a special herbal remedy spotlight later on.
Absolutely. We'll be diving into all of it, from the evolving understanding of serotonin's role in depression, the intriguing potential of cannabinoids like CBD, and the emerging use of novel therapies like Asperuloside and Transcranial photobiomodulation. So let's get started by talking about serotonin, the neurotransmitter that's been in the spotlight for decades. Serotonin has been central to depression research, but it turns out the story is more nuanced than just having enough serotonin in the brain. Recent innovations, like the SJ5HT probe, have allowed scientists to visualize serotonin in action, and we're learning that the key factor might be how well your neurons can release serotonin rather than how much is there.
What's particularly interesting is the link between serotonin release and the mTOR pathway. This pathway is a critical regulator of cell growth and has been flagged as a potential target for faster-acting antidepressant therapies. For people who experience delays in symptom relief with traditional medications, targeting mTOR could significantly shorten that window.
And the role of serotonin goes beyond just mood regulation. There's growing recognition of how neuroinflammation and neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and form new connections, also play into MDD. So while serotonin is still important, we're starting to see it as one piece of a much larger puzzle. Now let's move on to something that's been getting a lot of attention lately, the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. Most people associate cannabinoids with cannabis, but the ECS is actually a crucial part of regulating mood, stress, and inflammation. Emma, can you walk us through how this ties into depression?
The ECS includes receptors like CB1 and CB2, along with the cannabinoids our bodies naturally produce. When the ECS is out of balance, it can lead to mood disorders, including depression. This is where CBD, or cannabidiol, comes in. It's a non-psychoactive cannabinoid that interacts with serotonin receptors, specifically 5-HT1A, and has shown anxiolytic and antidepressant properties in early studies.
CBD is fascinating because it works in multiple ways, by reducing inflammation and promoting serotonin release. This is a huge shift from traditional antidepressants, which mostly focus on increasing serotonin levels but don't address the inflammation side of depression. And for people who haven't responded well to conventional treatments, CBD could offer new hope.
Exactly. We've seen some promising early trials, though more large-scale studies are needed to confirm these effects. But CBD's ability to reduce neuroinflammation is particularly exciting, as chronic inflammation has been increasingly linked to depression.
The interaction between serotonin and cannabinoids is a really dynamic area of research. Studies suggest that CBD doesn't just activate serotonin receptors, it also helps modulate how serotonin is released and processed, which could make it a powerful tool in combination with traditional therapies.
Absolutely. By targeting both the serotonin system and the HPA axis, which regulates stress response, cannabinoids like CBD might offer a dual approach to treating depression. They can lower cortisol levels and promote neurogenesis, which is the growth of new neurons, something that's often impaired in people with MDD.
And this opens the door for more personalized treatments that combine CBD with traditional antidepressants, potentially offering synergistic effects. But it's not just about serotonin and cannabinoids. Let's talk about some other exciting developments. One of the areas gaining attention is the concept of thalamocortical dysconnectivity in treatment-resistant depression, or TRD. This refers to changes in how different parts of the brain communicate with each other. A recent study used resting state MRI to examine brain connectivity in people with TRD, and the findings were quite revealing.
Right. The study showed increased connectivity between the thalamus, which acts as a hub for processing information, and areas like the insula and superior temporal cortex, regions associated with emotional processing. However, connectivity between the thalamus and the anterior paracingulate cortex, which helps regulate emotions, was reduced. This imbalance could explain some of the emotional and cognitive symptoms seen in TRD.
These findings offer valuable insights into the underlying mechanisms of treatment-resistant depression and could inform new therapeutic strategies. Speaking of new treatments, let's talk about Asperuloside, a compound from traditional Chinese medicine.
Asperuloside, a compound derived from plants, has shown incredible promise in preclinical models for alleviating depression. In a study involving rats subjected to chronic stress, Asperuloside significantly improved behaviors associated with depression, like reduced immobility and increased sucrose preference.
What's really exciting is that Asperuloside works through the Wnt3-FAV GSK3 beta-catenin pathway, which is involved in neuroplasticity and mood regulation. Essentially, it helps promote neurogenesis and synaptic plasticity, areas that are often impaired in people with MDD.
This could represent a novel treatment approach, especially for people who haven't responded well to traditional antidepressants. While we need more clinical trials to confirm its efficacy in humans, Asperuloside is certainly an intriguing option.
Now, another exciting area of research involves the basolateral amygdala, or BLA, particularly GABAergic neurons that regulate anxiety and depressive behaviors. Emma, can you explain how these neurons work?
Of course. The BLA contains different types of GABAergic neurons, like those that express parvalbumin and cholecystokinin, CCK. Studies have shown that activating these neurons can actually reduce anxiety and depression-like behaviors. On the other hand, inhibiting them can have the opposite effect, highlighting their critical role in mood regulation.
So by targeting these specific neuronal populations, we might be able to develop more precise treatments for depression. And speaking of novel approaches, let's not forget about transcranial photobiomodulation, or t-PBM.
Transcranial photobiomodulation is a non-invasive therapy that uses light to stimulate brain activity. A recent study explored its effects on brain temperature in people with MDD and found that while t-PBM didn't significantly change brain temperature, it showed promise as a potential treatment modality.
What's intriguing is that t-PBM seems to have dose-dependent effects, and while we don't fully understand its mechanisms yet, it could represent a new frontier in non-invasive treatments for depression. More research is definitely needed, but it's an exciting development.
And now it's time for our herbal remedy spotlight. Today's formula is designed to tackle the complexity of depression by targeting serotonin, the endocannabinoid system, neuroplasticity, and even stress management.
The first key ingredient is CBD, which we've discussed for its ability to reduce neuroinflammation and interact with serotonin receptors. Then we have St. John's wort, a traditional herb known for boosting serotonin and dopamine levels.
We've also got curcumin, which modulates the endocannabinoid system and reduces inflammation, along with omega-3 fatty acids to support neuroplasticity. Saffron and rhodiola rosea are included for their antidepressant effects and ability to manage stress.
And let's not forget ashwagandha and ginkgo biloba, which enhance brain function and reduce cortisol. Finally, lion's mane mushroom rounds out the formula by promoting neurogenesis, helping to rebuild the brain's structural health.
So there you have it, a comprehensive look at the complex mechanisms of major depressive disorder and the emerging treatments that could change the future of mental health care.
From serotonin and cannabinoids to the exciting potential of Asperuloside and non-invasive therapies like t-PBM, we're seeing a shift toward more personalized and targeted treatments. And remember, the herbal formula we discussed today is a great natural option to support mood and brain health.
For more details, head over to herbalbloom.org to read the full article. And as always, consult with a healthcare provider before trying new supplements. Thanks for joining us on the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies.
Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. We'll see you next time.